Okay, let's continue. I think that's why I stopped, but let's go. In 1822, Alaquem the First of Cordoba. Forget it. Write down the names, the date, and their titles when we get across all where they're from. Increasingly separated from the east, created a regular army of Berbers, perhaps as a result of inexplicable Viking terrascata. The Nordic ladder in the Guadalquivir is customary to water and coal their ships in the Orcada before crossing the clay of the Leches. In the year 844, they climbed the river. In 852, reigning Idris II in Sus, Turmakin, Alarachi, and Tangier, Abdurrahman II was elected Emir of Cordoba. Got about 40 years. And we got Idris II who already holding a title for multiple kingdoms. Understanding that the future was at sea, he built Artesanas in Seville and Carmona around 912 AD to be quarantined. As many recall the chronicles, a CE defeated the Ifrani Zab al-Sus, conquering Ifriqiya, I believe it was Tunis. We know it's Tunisia today. The helplessness of the losers degenerated into terrorism. Now, don't forget I'm taking points from the quote-unquote the Moors, and there's a lot of information that going on behind the scenes in certain situations that dealing with the Holy Roman Empire at this time. But this really ain't dealing with them. We're gonna see later. It's gonna be important points in that side of the story that we cannot skip. You'll see later. I don't know if we can get to that in this one, but let's go. Around 912, we already read that. On the same day in 1917, the souk of Tiaret, capital of the Zenadas, Fez, and Cordoba burned. 10 years later, Abdurrahman III, taking advantage of the agitation of the Fatimids, broke his weak ties with Damascus, declaring Cordoba sovereign. He conquered Tangier and Melilla, taking over Ceuta in 931. Emblematic enclave, having been head of the Visigothic bishopric of Morocco, exercised a kind of protectorate over Africa, which started from the Atlantic West and reaching Algiers. And don't forget now, in our stories, we don't look at the world like Charles say, made it. Certain places is ambiguous. That means I would have named certain places the same name based off of certain character of that place. If I'm that map maker. Border of the Great Mosque of Cordoba, beginning with the works of Medina al-Zahara. They say that the city palace had gold and silver tiles, important colors from Ifriqiya and Carthage. You see? Ifriqiya is supposed to be Carthage. So what is it saying? At 10 piece dinars, Abderrahman lent hosts of Tikitanos to Ramiro II of Leon in the war against Ordino de Castilla. See, we're dealing with the other side now. Defeated the Leon and San Esteban de Gormas. Among the dead appeared Almocarad, the great king of the Tigitanos. And don't forget, Tigitanos is the ancient Roman Africa, the Mauritanians, the split Mauritanian, Caesarius, and Tigitanos. The phonetic relationship of the word gypsies with Mauritania, Tigitana, that's right there, is as evident as that of certain customs collected by Chiesa de Leon, conqueror of Venezuela. And we will get into the so-called gypsies later. They all connect to the ancient empire dominions of ancient Egypt. It's just that these people is in the hundreds of centuries removed from those times when they've been at its height. Right now what we're reading about is what happened to that empire, how it break up. Concise. Side note, the Indians are defiled with the bride by the hand of a midwife following an exhibition of the handkerchief and aritio, or party. A description that fits the gypsies' wedding. And when she said Indian, she's talking about people who've been in the Americas and don't show up like as coming from anywhere else. Inside her research. And she used the term Indian because that's the term that the world or the education system got the world thinking that what makes you and a person who from here is that word, even though that's a totally made up concept to think about it, because a bunch of different people been here for a long time, way before the word Indian we ever used it for somebody over here, apparently. But for what it is, that just, how we looking at it, we quoting it. So she say, parrot, color gypsies. And the context clues they use from reading the book, she basically is talking about straight up Americans. You know how we got that, a lot of us got that red tint to our skin, or that so-called copper color, as the dictionary say. The word parrot in Spain, the English version of that is coloreds, right? Colored people. Like the Americans, you see, that's what she's talking about, are said to have arrived in Castile during the reign of the Catholics. It is true that in 1475, that's before 1492, there were a community of blacks and free coloreds in Andalusia, duly settled as old. So they settled. They don't really got no evidence that they come from anyway. But she gonna tie them from coming from somewhere. According to her research, she gonna throw out something out there. Not saying that that's where they come from, but it's gonna make sense. They share laws and customs, a sign of common origin. So basically, she has been saying a lot of people who've been, like how is the day in America? You got the so-called Latinos and the so-called blacks in the same thing. And she's been saying in neighborhoods in Seville and places like that, like how we got now before. We had them like this, and they were getting treated like blacks and coloreds. They were getting put mirrors over them and shit like that from the Christian powers, right? Abderrahman Houtet the former expansion of the Christian Spain, importing troops from quote-unquote Babylon in Africa. Upon his death in 961, Cordoba lost Africa, with the exception of Ceuta. Almanzor, general of Hexam II, with Maghreb Topas. I don't know what that is, probably soldiers. Reconquered the kingdom of Fez. Recovered the source of wealth. Hexam finished Medina Zahara while her general continued the war. The Mongols defeated by Almanzor as a Boro de Corona, king of the Ifrani, perhaps the same one who sent embassy to Hexam with a gift of lamp, leather, adagas, horses, camels, meharis, runners, giraffes, and musk animals. Hexam responded by appointing ambassador to Fez, who soon served as a general submitting the Berbers. His son Al-Muayyad, king of Cordoba in 976, reigned in Al-Andalus on the other side of the strait, quote-unquote. And she put quote-unquote over Al-Andalus because just like Spain and all these other terms, England, and them places all over the place, man. Like, we're dealing with extraterritorial jurisdictions. Only in our minds that we make a place a strict place. That place is right there and no place else. Almanzor died in 1018. And I'm going to stop when we get to that map. The monarch lost his head and throne at the hands of another Hexam, recognized in Fez but not in Al-Andalus, where they preferred supposed Umayyad. Killed by his father in 1026, he was replaced by the Musafri, who passed from the throne to the jail after his fall. The kingdom of Cordoba was divided into taifas, into weak, little mini kingdoms. The era of the petty kings, and we can look in the popular narratives to talk about the taifas and how that get started. So that's what that is. His king soon became vassals, paying pariah to the king of Castile. Meanwhile, a new Muslim power was outlined in the Sus, and that's another place. Around 1036, the preacher Al-Dala bin Yassim moved to the land of Berbers, despised by Africans and Spaniards, who called them rustic and villains for not speaking Arabic. He preached to them, teaching healing and other arts. Once he obtained an appreciable amount of followers, which he framed in the order of the Al-Murabitum, advance of the temple and all military orders. He prepared them to conquer the world when the heir of Beni Ifrani rules against the father of Aska. So, in my mind, like, I see walls between different Moorish factions in the Caribbean at a very early period before 1492. We probably get that right at the end of this. We're going to see the Beni Marines fighting. And the king landed in the province of Teto. Crossing her, he entered the Sus, defeating the prince. Side note, in the history of Morocco, Teto appeared as a coastal province in Berberia, and in document of 1490, like town of Gran Canaria. Yusuf, yeah, because the unspoken theory is we believe Carlos Quintos the Fifth transferred place names from here to the Canaries and off the coast of North Africa in order to hide the gold mines from here, from potential people, navigators and shit. Yusuf son of Yassim inherited 2,000 Arab knights. Conquered the kingdom of Sus. He left south of the Atlas like the Zenadas to defeat the last Ifrani in the Levant. Founder of Marrakesh in 1062, he continued his conquest in Fez and Tremakin. 1075, it was done with the Tangier, following to Oran. Ceuta capitulated in 1084. Controlled Africa, the story goes that Spanish Muslims harassed by Christians called the Almoravids. So we see a lot of conflict going on back and forth, both sides of the ocean, Andalus, but I understand we got what they call the Byzantine or these so-called Roman leftover from an earlier period, right? Like people we understand, you got the Punic Wars. That just don't end after, because the dates say end in the history books. You got leftover generations of everything still around today. So you see a lot of wars going and take Africa back. And the part that I ain't mentioning that we should know, because they talk about it a lot of history, a lot of different peoples that we can't even recognize who was who ran through North Africa, like through different time periods, just hordes of people. So, don't look at it as who's who, just put the story together. So we count it differently. Customs of the kings of Leon to distribute crowns among the children made the national sport civil law to ambition each brother to equal the power of the father. Learn the lesson. As soon as the monarchs died, the firstborn eliminated the minors. According to Alfonso, at the death of Ferdinand I, escaped to Toledo, taking refuge in the shadow of a Moorish king. It is said that he conspired since his retirement halfway with his sister Urraca, organizing an ambush in which Sancho II died. When leaving no offspring, the throne fell to Alfonso VI, king of Leon, came to the aid of the king of Toledo, entangled with that of Cordoba. As a result of the raid, married for the sixth time with Zayda, daughter of the king of Seville. So as we can see, we're seeing different families and stuff just on both sides, like, mercenaries getting paid. A lot of stuff happened behind the scenes, The chronicler say that, advised by the father-in-law, he brought to Spain quote-unquote barbarian people after Marinas de Allende. That probably means from the seas of Allende, which, from the last videos, we put that in America somewhere. But at this time, apparently, the term America ain't being used, so you gotta even have some kind of term that delineate this place. The episode was slippery because it was not well seen that a Christian king imported Muslims. So basically that story ain't really popping like that because of that reason. And another context clues, you say Muslims getting imported from Allende. an alternate version emerged, so they reconstruct the version of that shit. And Alfonso's possession the conquest of Toledo in 1085 after the death of his protector, Carl of Yusuf, was blamed on the King of Savoy. He passed the strait in 1086, defeating the Christians in Zalaka. Required again in 1090, he returned with his Moors of Alende. The attempt to recover Toledo failed. He became against the king of Taifa, unifying Al-Andalus, king of the two Berbers, was titled Mir Mamolin. And that's why I titled this part, because I believe that's just a title about Wikipedia. And most of when I researched that word in the English narratives, I think they just try to make it as if one more who had that name, try to make it a name. But it looked like that word say like the king of the seas or something like that. The lord of the seas or some shit. So he even going against all the kings who've been in the little broken down kingdoms. The Taifas, the petty kingdoms. And unified Andalus was 1090. And became king of two Berbers. So raised Alfonso VI to the rank of emperor. He began a new war against the Moors. The year of 1108 was defeated in Urques, so he's still getting beat up. But as we can see, we see families at war. Families of the Holy Roman Empire, and of the Moorish Empire, the Pope and the Sultan. I mean, that shit ain't even really changed. At the end of the day, we deal with Christianity and Islam. Man, how we slice it. And they got nothing to do with color. For the person who keep commenting on my post about Moors not being black, when the term black or Moor exists, and ain't no such thing as a black person anyway. You got people who been inhabitants near the Negro and the Niger rivers. That about it. That's the closest we can get about that. Keep making a new account. Anyway. So Yusuf was succeeded by the Mir Mamolin Aldemon of different wood, besieged by the Christians in Cordoba, signed a peace, marching to Morocco, head of his kingdom. So he lose Cordoba. He signed peace. And they've been really signing a lot of these peace and capitulations because they've been in America. But like that was just, to me, that was just like having an embassy in Europe. They try to keep control. We know the importance of Spain though, because we see what happened in 1492. Really in like 15 something, when they really start to get any real control. Every other control been on paper. In 1128, Mir Mamolin al-Mahdi made the mistake of expelling Mozarabic and Jews. Desperados joined the opposition and ambushed in the mountains. I guess it mean ambush him in the mountains. Going down to the plain, they liquidated the Almoravid power around 1130. The authority weakened. Islamic Spain again fragmented under the Alfonso VIII. The Archbishop of Toledo, a bellicose prelate, ran with hosts in northern Andalusia, bringing the Mir Mamolin Ibn Yusuf, emperor of Africa and Spain with an army of Almohads, Arabs, and Ethiopians. And that's why it started to call these Merovingians kings of a mix, because I believe they had rulership on both sides of the Atlantic. We still dealing with this empire, this dominion of so-called ancient Egypt, chapter 47. And all the kings that connected to it, the part that ain't nobody want to deal with, is that I dealing with, is the America side of that. That been a part of it, period. And even though just that one day became a part of it, no. This place always been known by some people who've been in the seas. And he defeated the Christians in Arcos in 1195. The king died and the son reigned. Alfonso called the Crusades. In 1212, with the help of the Temple and the king of Aragon, Navarre, talking about the Templars, he defeated Miramontes in Las Navas de Tolosa. And look up that that story. They show that's what a lot of crests who got them chains, got like a broken chain on a link, who got the Moor's head and all that on it. They're talking about a specific event, and a lot of them know that a lot of those Moors who been fighting, they call them the Black Guard or the Negro Guards. They used to have a chain. They used to hold a chain in front of them, running through them bars with a chain and shit. So a lot of them probably came from South America, where we got the Negro River or the Niger. Since both of those terms just means black, we're just dealing with Latin and we're dealing with Spanish on one side and Latin on the other side, but same rule. Muslim sources kill the Moorish king on that day. The Christians make him return to Morocco to die long, live reigning Fernando III in Castilla and Leon. So that's been a big break for that war, Los Navas de Tolosa. Miramontes was inherited by his grandson Said Araxid, in whose head the crowns of, see, now that's why he was saying about King of Mason. You got Morocco, Fez, Sousse, Ptolemaic, Algiers, Tunisia, Egypt, Muslim Andalusia, and the Aragon wing of Barbaria. They promised that Alfonso of Palencia help us place. Having conquered Tangier, Alfonso V, king of Portuguese Algarve, he knew that the Moors called the province Algarve and pluralized the title King of the Algarbes. See, I was saying about Algarve been more than one place, because you got a plural version of it. That means you king of more than one Algarve. So that's another word that we can use, like we're using a mix of all, Miramontes and all. Agadir, from the last video. And the one from even some more governors from East Africa. They use a couple of them too. I can't think of them right now, but they use different governance names. The decomposition that followed the Nile was crystallized in Gormanzana uprising, advance of Tremaican. He had conquered Sojul Menza when Araxi came, placing him in his capital. Araxi traveled outside of the wall, preparing the assault, when he was killed by his relative of trust that accompanied him. So white believers, that's one of the battles. So from over here, one of the battles between so-called Christian power after the Battle of the Naus. Finally, over here in Iraq Sea, as you can see how it is there, right? This man get killed from his own relative of trust. Ibn Khaldun places, that's why I always tell more, just like just don't point fingers at nobody, because we already know we suffer slavery due to our own disobedience. Ibn Khaldun places this event in 1240, calling King Uthman al-Zaid. So we know we're using cross references from different sources. We're using al-Khaldun a lot. One of the historians, a great historian. By not leaving an heir in Morocco, they proclaim Murtada or al-Murtada in disagreement. The children, that's who they proclaim in Morocco. In disagreement, the children of Marin, advance of Algarve of Barbaria, who bequeathed them the position, rose with the province, proclaiming Bukhar Lord of Fez and Yaqub Lord of Rebate. And that's what we're saying about the children of Marine, the Beni Marines, and that area what used to be called, I believe, the Little Sea, or Marpequina. We're going to see it later in these maps. When we look at it, I'm going to stop right there, the next one. Al-Mu'tada landed in the Algarve with the intention of recovering the province, defeated the Marines in the vicinity of Meknes. Campaign interrupted by uprising in Morocco by Boudabès. Deh Bukhar and his son Jacob unified the Algarve, being required by Boudabès. In exchange for help, he offered the province of Saleh, with 3 days of walking, quote unquote, separated from Morocco by the Narabi River. And I think you can find that in some local Africa right now under different type of Narab Bowl or something like that. Commercial and reputed the port. They had busy, quote unquote, Nazarenes and Nazarenos. Look that up. Or Christians. Jacob went against Al-Mu'tada, and that's why I believe a lot of these people like Gormazana probably been dark skinned, probably just under the Roman Empire. But they, how they paint the picture in history books. Spanish. So I'm gonna start right here. Start back the Nazarenos and the Christians. And as we can see in the continent of America, that's everywhere we look, is Christianity. You ain't gonna have one without the other. Period. That will make, and nobody can claim Islam or Christianity is a foreign entity to America. Nobody can claim that because ain't nobody old enough to know, been around to know when that ain't exist here. The oldest records show signs of it everywhere. It's a part of it, like the most holy place I can think of. I can't think of no place with more churches from Alaska, Chile. Fooling ourselves. Let me talk a little bit more. Let's look at some of those maps. Man, this one here. Firm land means, the Spanish start to call it firm land because at first they didn't know if they were just hitting more and more islands because they didn't really penetrate inside the interior until very, very late. and their records. So when they realized it's been a damn continent, the name became Tierra Firme. And sometimes they write Tierra de los Negros, the land of the blacks. That's the type of people that they found. Dark-skinned people. And we got Santa Cruz of the Sea and Pequena of the Little Sea, and they believe all the sub people in the Little Sea. And we got the Turk Islands up here too. Got Calais. So in the story of Cadiz, some of the story of Calais is in that story. Definitely stories of Sierra Leone is in that story. The records that so-called black people holding on to, saying, hey, this person right here on this, what you call Ancestry.com, say they come from Africa, from a Sierra Leone or Cameroon or a bunch of these places that you can find over here. So you put two and two together, you got Africa. You got these people saying, well, we know we come from Africa because it's just too much evidence. And then you got a whole history of Moors and Christian battling, and Moors battling, people battling. What the fuck happened to the captives? That's the story. Let's change the story to something else. Some Europeans just rushing up into the coast of Africa and buy slaves from Africans who've been going to war with each other, who've been selling them to the Europeans off the coast for 400 years of that going on. That's what they tell us. So we can run with that if we want. And there ain't nothing going on over here. Now that's been real if you go with that story, because they don't say what been going on at the time. Yeah, they say they've been bringing them here and having them bull everything up after they kill everybody who been here first with a blanket of smallpox or something. You know what they say? Spanish come over here and take over. Everybody's speaking Spanish now, and they've been great enough to do that and go to, and then a bunch of different Europeans who they say the slave trade thing, but why everybody speaks Spanish and not Dutch and all these other things too? And we got words that go back into the days of the Punic Wars, especially over here, the ports of Carthage and Gran Canaria that have been put over there. See Valende on one of these maps. San Miguel, she put that right there. So somebody had that name of Valende in the valley of the mosque, Mezquitl. And she saw all the towns that called Matamoros. Some of these battles between Moors and Christians ain't really happening in Spain, we call Spain. New Spain, all this became New Spain on maps. Look up Portobello Cristos Negros. Got a whole ritual down there about some Nazarenos that go right along with the story. Gran Canaria. The Little Sea. Records show battles in the Little Sea happening, but ain't no place today in the world called Little Sea. A lot of the time they just call America the New Kingdom of Grenada just because it reminded them of Grenada. They don't even just say, like, hey, that's a giant Grenada over there. The building's the same, everything the same. And as we can tell from our story, because the people from here been going over there, keeping this thing from the ancient world, the Empire of Egypt. But we ain't talking about this place. We're talking about a word that just don't need the name of an empire. Africa, another word that don't need 24 degrees latitude, north and south, from here to through Asia, all the way back around. And that's how the Spanish, the conquerors, looked at it when they did the Treaty of Zero's Line, the breakup of the empire. They break up what they know been already been real. Alright, they got Linde down here somewhere. Yeah, the ports of Linde. And that's all based off this research. It could be wrong. We have to shit. We're looking at maps every day that could be wrong. Alright. And one more thing I want to do before we get out here. I ain't rushing to get out here. Be seeing 5-hour videos on YouTube, motherfucker. And he ain't talking about nothing. Let's look at some of these. The Duke of Montezuma Tultengo, Spanish heritage title of the descendant of Montezuma II. Let me show you how deep this is. This is still going on today now. This is just people who know how to keep family records. That's what Moors do. We keep family records. Records time travel. You see, boy still confirming motherfuckers titles won by Juan Carlos II in 1992. Still over here giving them but a crown like, yeah, huh? This is all real. You see some of the Christian powers that people don't never want to talk about. They're always the Moors doing this and the Moors doing that. Let's talk about it. We're dealing with princes and principalities, orders and kingdoms. And put it in a proper perspective. When you start reading who's the kings and who's these people who we're reading about, you can find out who stole, got stuff that they going on with it. You find your part in it. The House of Zuniga. Look into Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, the King of the Romans. And that's one that I find too, that I see, that we call them kings of the Romans and stuff like that. The popular narrative never say that. They always just king of the Holy Roman Empire. So take it for how you go. And it showed us, it showed how they even dressed like Andalusians in this. So everything go back to some origins of things. Look into this. And then look into the slave trade and look into these characters. Order of the Calatrava. And then you can look into some of the family trees of the Moors. Genia, Geny, one who's the rich one. And we see the king of Portugal named Da Guinea, using that same GNY from the ancient Canaanite Moabitic term that means a rich person. The sons of Guinea. And you know we got 3 Ghanas in the world, right? One in Brazil, one in what we call Africa, and one in Asia, New Papua. And that's who I've been talking about where they use the term Mira Mamolin. You can really find in the English narrative, but in the Spanish I find a good bit. I find some good books too. You know, you have a bunch of places called Miramar. Suffixes. This way he talk about it. We went over this in the last one. He talk about 364 years of intermittent conflicts from Patagonia to Alaska, Canada, and Greenland having been defeated by the Roman tribes of South America. You see? Now we're talking about just basically the Christian powers. All these orders that we've been dealing with in these, in these stories, They submitted themselves to Roman slavery under names such as Negro and Indian, which resulted in the loss of their birthright in 1774 Christian calendar year, which is equivalent to 1194 Moorish calendar year. 1453 and 1492 Christian calendar year is equivalent to 873, 912 Moorish calendar year. And what that does is what we just talking about, Grand Canary and all these wars and that so-called Morocco. Yep, we making a claim. The term Khan implies the people who control the board of real estate, commerce, production, distribution of the order of the Roman colonization, which manifested with Wall Street in Amsterdam or New York, USA, and Java. You see how I was saying the whole world. Java on the other side, East India, both of which are the headquarters of the nobles, dukes, lord, and duchess of Roman Khan, the jury over the wealth and culture of the Moorish Asiatic nations. So we're dealing with the Holy Roman Empire. We're dealing with that also in the what people like to talk about, when they go into Africa and split them up in the 1800s. I know what you're talking about. All the European powers going and split them up and all that, and people wondering like how they can just do that, and they got the records of them doing that. They dealing with us. The Holy Roman Emperors, they always make claim to lands just like they've been doing since the Punic Wars. Like, they ain't never changed from that. The wars go back before that. When you look at the ancient Egyptian Empire, we're dealing with wars. If you look at history, go look for the wars. 9 times out of 10, that's what was true for that. Our forefathers were defeated by the Roman conquerors after having gone some 364 years intermittent conflicts. So, during all those conflicts from Alaska to Chile, what happened to the people? And he ended up getting shipped around all over the place. The different camps and empires set up different places. Everybody's setting up shop. We're dealing with squares. We're dealing with trade and commerce. And just the signs of setting up a city. Going back to the days of the ancient Phoenicians, right? Set up a city, what they call a colony. That came down to our times. Cool. I'll study of that lack of knowledge and stuff like that. We just need the knowledge. And this map show terra firma. A lot of places because it don't match up from our research, but we know what it is. Gibraltar store right there, and Kenta, which should be Keuta. Araya is a name that gonna pop up in our story. We know Grenada right there, we know that for sure. And we should know Barbados as Barbaria. It basically kept an aspect of the name that they use. There's a few names that I got on the list that have been used because the word American ain't coming to the thing yet, idea of the mind of the world yet. So Barbaria is one of those words that show up as any place from over this motherfucker. And look how they make sure they put Saba on this map. It's a small island, so they could have skipped that. Many islands they skipped, but they put that. Let me see. Guyana. And they truly didn't know if they've been over here or over there a lot of the times. The Congo or Amazon. Until later, until technology started to get better. But a lot of the Moors had a beam on how the world looked, as if they had a satellite or something shit. But they didn't tell nobody, that's why the history been easily hidden in that aspect. Because they already been hiding the motherfucker, just like the Christians. When Carlos get a beam on American gold mines, they do the same thing. A lot of that research from her book lead me to different accounts. This one in Spanish. They talking about the line of the Moors. About 15 volumes of this shit too. Some good shit. They use the term Mira Mamol do. See the whole line. On one of these, I see one of them had the name Amir. It's Amru. They Lebon. I like to look at they. Give you an idea where they from. One of them had Amir. Yeah, right there, Amir. Anyway, so a catalog of chronicles. The same thing they doing, just got a low history attached to it. And I'll say right there. Tired of talking. So, see you in the next one. Peace and Islam.